His chapter is in ruins, the sector is at war, and its worlds are under siege. Chaos is spreading and consuming all, but it is here that he will make his final stand, and it is here there will be retribution. That's right folks, in this video I'll be tackling the man, the legend, Gabriel Angelos of the Blood Ravens. Currently, he's available from Forge World in his Dawn of War 3 styling, but in this video I'll be showing you how to construct a Primaris version of the Chapter Master, based more closely on his appearance in Dawn of War 2. The basis of this conversion consisted of the Primaris Captain from Indomitus, so I went ahead and removed all the components needed to build the torso, as well as the backpack of that particular model. With them removed, I cleaned up all the mold lines and tabs on the components. With the components prepped, I was able to assemble and glue the parts of the torso together. With this done, I then clipped away the two tabs at the shoulders. I won't be using the default arms for this conversion, so these tabs won't be needed, so they can be gotten rid of pretty quickly. Once they have been clipped away, I used my knife to smooth out any remaining bits of plastic to create a flat surface. In addition to this, I also removed and smoothed down the small protruding cylinder on the captain's chest. This is where the small shield would normally be attached, but I needed to slightly adjust the position of the shield later on in order to make room for the next step. To represent Angelos' demon hammer, known as God Splitter, I took one of the two-handed hammers from the Deathwatch Kill Team kit, including the two related arms. However, before I could use the hammer, I needed to very carefully shave away the Inquisition symbol from either side of the hammerhead. For the most part, the Deathwatch hammer-wielding arms worked fairly well with the Primaris-sized torso. However, there was a very slight adjustment that was needed. To get the angle correct, I used some putty to temporarily attach the arm to the torso. This gave me a rough idea of what cuts I needed to make to ensure the best fit. I realized that I need to open up the back part of the shoulder on the right. This is needed to create a wider angle in the arm pose. This was achieved with a knife, but a file could have worked too. I made a few cuts and checked the fit before finally gluing the hammer and the arms to the torso. If there is a little bit of a gap here, don't worry, because we'll be covering these in the next few steps. Next up, I went about adding the small shield or rondel or whatever you wish to call it. However, because of the hammer, I now had much less room to work with. Luckily, I had already trimmed the torso down, and so that all that was needed to do now was to trim the back of the shield with my knife. With the tab drastically reduced, I was able to slot the shield behind the hammer before gluing it into place. Now that the arms were in place, it was time to add some shoulder pads. The right pad was taken from the Death Company kit. The small vial of blood and blood drop symbol worked really well for representing a chapter called the Blood Ravens. This fitted nicely over the top of the right shoulder pad. For the left pad, I wanted something a little chunkier. I really like the look of asymmetric para armor, so I dipped into the Aggressor's kit for one of the bulkier pads. I fitted this to the left shoulder of Gabriel so that the extended trim was towards the front. This didn't interfere with the hammer placement and would prevent potential problems when attaching the power pack. For that extra touch of Blood Raven flair, I took another part from the Death Company kit, this small winged blood drop. These are designed to be attached to shoulder pads, and this particular one fitted nicely over the Aggressor pad on the left shoulder without any trimming needed. It was a great way to help emphasize that asymmetric armor style that I was looking to create, and gave the model a more visible status as being a chapter master. For the head, I wanted something unhelmeted that represented the strong chiseled features and crew cut of Gabriel Angelos. Luckily, there are lots of Primaris kits which have similar heads, but the one I found was from the Primaris Reavers set, which had this excellent head that is perfect for my needs. You could attach the head at this point or leave it separate, depending on how you wish to paint it. After this, I added the default Captain's power pack to the model, and with that, all that was left to do was to paint and base the model. But before I reveal it, here's Lachies from Zorpazorp, who's also been converting some Blood Ravens.
Hey there, disciples of Pete, Lockie from Zorpazorp Gaming here, interrupting this broadcast to show you my Primaris Librarian conversion. When Pete and I were chatting about ways to kitbash Indomitus, my Blood Ravens were just screaming out for a big bookie librarian, and stealing a whole bunch of bits from the Justiciar and Chaplain feels very, very appropriate. Head over to Zorpazorp Gaming to see the full conversion journey, and hopefully one day we'll get to see my librarian and Pete's amazing Gabriel Angelos fighting together, back to back, in defense of the Imperium.
Thanks, Lockie, and here we have the completed Primaris Gabriel Angelos. I lent more heavily into the Dawn of War representation of Gabriel, where he was equipped with regular power armor rather than the Terminator armor that he wore in Dawn of War 3. I'm really happy with how he turned out. The basis of the Indomitus captain works really well with the hammer he's carrying and gives the model a very authoritarian look, which is absolutely perfect for representing a chapter master like this. It was great fun trying to represent a well-known character in Primaris form, so if you have any other suggestions for other well-known 40k characters, then do please let me know and I'll do my best to cover them in some future conversion tutorials. And if you haven't yet done so, please do go and check out the Zorpazorp channel. Lockie has hands down the best Middle-earth scenery guides on YouTube. If you're like me and got into Warhammer through Lord of the Rings, there is some great content to look through, and if you're painting up your Indomitus set, he's putting out some really great tutorials for that too. So check out his channel, the link is in the description. So, I just want to finish off with a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and the folks who use my affiliates links. Your continued help is always greatly appreciated and it really helps to support this channel. If you like this video, then check out my other conversion guides and please do consider subscribing to this channel. And with all that, all I have to say is, thanks for watching and goodbye.